What's going on, everybody? It's Ricky with Videohomicide, back with another movie review, movie recommendation. We're going to talk about one from 1979, directed by Walter Hill, based on the novel by Sol Yurick, The Warriors. Recently, I found myself watching The Warriors a couple of times last week. I popped it in twice, and one time I watched it in its entirety because it's the fucking Warriors and it's the best, but the second time I just kind of had it in the background, and I did do a drawing of like a Warriors inspired piece in my sketchbook, and I think it turned out pretty dope. I really want to do some more films in the sketchbook, like things like this where it's not like blatant, like it's like if you've seen the film, then you'll get it. You know what I mean? It's not going to be like the title won't be plastered all over the place. Like it's not going to be like the Warriors like font at the bottom. Like I just wanted to be very kind of just, I don't know. It's hard to describe, but I want to do that with a few more films. I got Shogun Assassin I want to do. I've done a bunch of Taxi Driver inspired art, but I want to go ahead and do one like that in the sketchbook, because one of my goals of the remainder of this year is to get at least 20 more sketches in this sketchbook. I've had it for like 2 years. Actually, the date in the beginning of it is marked May or March 2021, so I want to definitely be able to do a sketchbook a year, the same size. I'm going to go and buy a bunch of them just to have them, and for future fun. Okay, but today I want to talk about The Warriors. Right here is the comic adaptation, which I think like this back art, like whoever did this artwork on the back right here, I think should have done the interiors of this. Maybe it's not the artist, maybe it's the coloring. I'm just not a fan of the way this book is colored, although there are certain pages that I really do enjoy. One thing about this is there's like a pinup in here of one of the baseball Furies, and with it being Halloween recently, I've noticed a lot of people posing in their Halloween costumes dressed as baseball Furies, and I'm like, yeah, okay, but baseball Furies are wimps. You know what I mean? Other than being able to run like motherfuckers, like they got their asses handed to them quick by like a couple of guys. Like an entire gang gets wiped out by like 4 dudes. So I always found that hilarious. I think the baseball Furies look cool, but they are nowhere near the coolest, in my opinion, of the Warriors gang universe. You know what I mean? I think the turnable ACs are way more interesting, even though we don't get much time with them. But they kind of have the exact same thing as the Furies, only they don't get their asses kicked. You know what I mean? Like they chase the Warriors down, and I don't know. Like I don't want to piss anyone off because I know a lot of people love the Furies, and I do too. But I just don't think they're, obviously I think they're tougher than the Orphans. The Orphans couldn't even they didn't do shit. They just showed up looking sweaty and greasy, But I also think that the riffs are like a really cool sort of idea for a gang. Like I especially love when, I believe his name's Masai, like the black riff with like the glasses that is always wearing the glasses throughout the film. I love his. I wish there was like more of him in the film, although I'm fine with what they had. I just think that he's such like a cool guy. Like the riffs themselves as a gang is really interesting to me, and we don't get a lot. And we don't get a lot about a lot of the gangs, and a lot of the mythology came from something called the PlayStation 2 game, which is a phenomenal game. Unfortunately, I do not have the manual, but I'm pretty sure, like I had this game when I was younger, sold it off obviously, but I bought this in recent years just to have in the collection. Like I rebought all the PS2 games that I had when I was a kid, pretty much the ones that I liked. 666 in the comments if you guys want to see my PS2 collection, because there might be like 10 to 15 games, but they're all like really, like they're fucking good games. They're no bullshit. Like Warriors is such a good one. Like this is how I found out, or this is how everyone sort of found out about the backstory of each individual warrior that goes to the conclave, all the other gangs surrounding, like the inclusion of this gang called the Destroyers, which is like a fellow Coney Island gang that Cleon and Vermin were once a part of, and they end up leaving the gang through, I don't remember the exact details of what happened. It's been probably like at least 10 or more years since I played the Warriors game, but I definitely remember them getting fucked over in some way and then starting the Warriors, and then throughout the game you get to find out how everyone else joins the gang, like Swan, Ajax, Cochise, Cowboy, like everyone. Like I don't remember which character it was exactly. Oh, and the Boppers. Like the one guy had to like steal one of the Boppers' hats, like the biggest, like the leader of the Boppers, which is like the all black gang with like the purple hats. Like he had this huge fucking hat, so he had to go steal it. and you know, they have all these sort of trophies in the Warriors clubhouse. Like, this isn't an open world game, but it's fucking awesome. Like, it's you know, you get like a little area, like a little neighborhood of Coney Island where you get to sort of operate out of, and you can, there's missions that take place there, but a lot of them, you know, this game does a good thing where it's like, it's kind of like location based, you know what I mean? Like, there's a really good mission in this game where you fight the hi-hats, which is like you know, this gang that dresses up like mimes, but like the leader's like this big fat dude, and you end up going to his like studio and fucking over all of his art and stuff like that. And like, there's a lot of good chases in this game, different things. Like, I don't know, man, I feel like this game right here is definitely going to go down in history as one of the best sort of you know, licensed from a film video game. I mean, the Scarface game is pretty sick, but this game is just, and like, that's an open world game, and like, but this, you know, Rockstar just constantly knocked it out of the park growing up, like with games like Bully, of course, the Grand Theft Auto games, Warriors, obviously. They did the Red Dead Revolver series, or Red Dead Revolver was a prequel, or the first installment of the Red Dead, the fuck's it called? Red Dead Redemption. I can't believe I forgot the name of that. I love those games, but I actually own Red Dead Revolver on PS2, but I've never played it, so that might be something to happen, or something to do during the winter time this year, you know what I mean? But getting back to the Warriors, it's just, it's such a cool concept to me. And like, I've told this story in the past. Like, I had a good buddy in public school and into high school and shit, Cody, and he was the guy that knew about the Warriors, and I didn't think anyone else knew about the Warriors. And he also was the guy that introduced me to Blood In, Blood Out, and I introduced him to Colors, because like his East LA gang, or his like LA gang film was Blood In, Blood Out. Mine was Colors. And I remember when I finally seen Blood In, Blood Out, I like said to the guy, I'm like, man, like, that movie is fucking incredible. And he's like, yeah, I've seen Colors, that's sick too. So really shout out to Cody. I remember this game like introduced so many of my friends to like this type of movie, you know, like, it's like older films like aren't dumb, you know what I mean? Like, I grew up with a lot of people that, you know, won't watch a black and white film, would, you know, think subtitles is bullshit, all that stuff. And it's kind of funny because now everyone kind of watches films with subtitles on. Like, I mean, my girlfriend likes to do it. I do it sometimes if it's like a TV show or something like that. And like, a lot of times, like, if I'm just fucking watching a movie sitting here, I got like my sketchbook out. Well, not really. I don't really do a lot of sketches in my sketchbook sitting here at the couch because it's just kind of a pain in the ass. I like to have a flat surface, so when I'm drawing on the couch, I got a clipboard. I think I've talked about that in the past, but fuck, man, I kind of lost what I was saying. But anyways, let's get into the actual movie, The Warriors, which was actually sent to me by my buddy Marky, who is one of the NY Warriors, New York Warriors comic book collectors, legendary guy in the scene. He sent me this after I made a video talking about like my most wanted VHS tapes, and Warriors was on there. And he's like, dude, I got that shit. Let me send it off to you. So here it is. This is amazing. I've watched this probably... Since he sent it to me, I've probably watched this twice, but only once during this new installment of rewatching The Warriors. Okay, so we got the film, The Warriors. Starts off. Also, if you've not watched all the or any of the deleted scenes, they're all available on YouTube. Highly fucking recommended checking that shit out. Let me get a sip of water out of my pistol cup. So The Warriors, 1979. Like I said, man, I would love to see the storyboards of this film. You know, if you've not seen the Exorcist storyboards, I don't know why I'm thinking of that right now, but check those out. They're on Google. Like, just Google Exorcist storyboards. They're fucking awesome. But The Warriors is a great film. It's compiled of a bunch of different scenes. Like, when I think of The Warriors, like, much like that sketch I was talking about, like the graveyard, the subway, and like the music. Like, not necessarily a ghetto blaster in particular, but just the music. And there's scenes of ghetto blasters throughout the film. Like, there's a guy that has one on his shoulder. The fucking turnable ACs are listening to a radio on the top of the bus. But, you know, it comes up throughout. Now, my favorite warrior is Ajax. Okay, I think a lot of people would probably say that. Mostly because he's sort of like the, other than, you know, his mistake of, like, going to that broad, like, he was kind of right about everything. He's like, you know, these people are wimps. I'm tired of running, all this shit. And, like, it's true, man. Like, there was a lot of stuff that he's kind of like the Hooper from Night of the Living Dead. That's like, let's go down to the basement, and no one kind of listened to him. But they didn't need to run from those fucking baseball furies, maybe to tire them out, but, you know. And again, like I was watching someone made a video talking about the Warriors recently, or maybe not recently, but there was a Warriors, maybe it was actually an interview with James Remar, and he said that, Ajax could have like kept running when he was with Cowboy running from the Furies, but he's like, no, they stop. He's loyal to his homie, and like they stop and they fight, and what happens. One of the most iconic, lines comes out of that scene where Ajax says, I'll shove that bat up your ass and turn you into a popsicle, and all of his other like little one-off lines, like, what are we turning faggot? Like, not to be homophobic, I'm just, saying the fucking what's said in the film. So, and that comes up a lot of times, like, we're acting like faggots. Like, all that stuff is so sort of like exactly what I would imagine some guy would say that's in a street gang in New York in 1979. Also, it's important to point out that this, along with Zombie from Lucio Fulci, also 1979, also one of my like top 10 films. So really dope, really good year for cinema. So following Ajax, I would say my next favorite is probably, like, I would say Snow, because I think he's like a badass. He's kind of like a silent badass, but I think Vermin edges him out because I like Vermin. I like that he's like, he can kick ass, but he's also kind of like this, like, he kind of reminds me of my buddy Mike for some reason. I don't know why, but he's got like this like little, he's charismatic. We'll say it, we'll leave it at that. And like, I love how his lines in the film are awesome too. Like, we're going to get japped. And like, he's one of the guys that goes along with Cochise and Rembrandt. They go and meet the Lizzies, which is like this all girl gang, which is like, they got guns, knives, and all that. There's a really good fight scene, like with the Warriors versus that chick gang in this film. If you've not, seen this shit, it's awesome. Like, obviously the riffs. I think the riffs are like probably my third favorite gang, or excuse me, my second favorite gang in the movie, just because like they're the most badass besides the Warriors. But my third favorite warrior, which is what I was trying to get at, was probably Swan. I like Swan a lot. I think he's like a silent dude. Like, my only problem with this film, and it's not like that bad, but all the shit with Mercy, I don't give a fuck about any of that stuff. Like that scene where they're in the subway tunnel and he's like starts making out with her, but then he just stops. And it's like, so like, what are you doing? Like, why are you bringing this broad along? Like, get her the fuck out of there. I know she kind of, had a part in that brawl at the end with the punks, which is like another really amazing scene. These punk, this gang called the Punks, where they all wear striped shirts with overalls, and the one guy's wearing the fucking rollerblades. Apparently one of those punks was actually the stunt coordinator of the Warriors film, which is interesting. There's a really good Facebook group that I'm on called the Warriors Movie or something like that. There's a couple of Warriors Facebook groups, but the one I'm in, really like it. A lot of people are posting cool stuff all the time, fan art and different, cosplay, all that bullshit. But I like a lot of the behind the scenes photos and just like a little bit of trivia that is just awesome. Like, I love good trivia, like, anything I can learn about like Full Metal Jacket or like, any Stanley Kubrick film, behind the scenes stuff, Evil Dead, like, Sam Raimi, like good independent stuff, or like just directors that I really respect, like those guys. So, and with Walter Hill, like, I don't think that the only other Walter Hill film that I know that he worked on for sure was Alien. I think he had something to do with Alien, the original, which is also another 1979 film, which is another amazing one. I just did a video talking about Alien, so if you're so inclined, check that shit out, man. But yeah, I like Cleon. I think Cleon would have been like a really good part of this film, but he gets his ass taken out pretty quick, which sets up like a little bit of animosity between Swan and Ajax. But if you watch those special features, Swan and Ajax seem sort of like really buddy-buddy in a way, but I don't know. We'll see. Well, I guess we won't see because we already fucking seen what there is. But there's like a new edition of the Warriors put out by some company, I think in Australia, which I don't plan on getting my hands on. I have the DVD, but like honestly, like this cut is fine. This is the VHS is obviously a little dark. I want to see it in a cleaner thing. I did watch it on the computer. I streamed it just so I could watch like a clean version of the unedited bullshit. Like those fucking thing at the beginning with Walter Hill going 1,000 miles from safety, 1,000 miles from like. I don't care about that shit, man. Actually, me, my buddy Cody, who I talked about, my buddy Mike, my brother, I think my cousin came with us. We all saw this at the Highland, which was cool, man, because you don't get to see shit like that. And I missed every Highland Retromania event they had in the summer, and they played some good movies that I wanted to see, but I was working, so such is life. We'll end it on a high note. I love the Warriors. If you've not been able to play the game on PS2, definitely, you could probably watch, it's not the same, obviously. It sucks, like, watching a video game, but I mean, you could do it just to watch the cutscenes, I guess, and sort of get your own little mini movie version out of it. But if you can play it, definitely play it. It's sort of like an extension of the actual film. So we'll leave it at that, man. I appreciate everybody for watching. Make sure you leave a 666 in the comments. And with that being said, adios. Sip of my water.